The medical bay hummed with the sterile efficiency of 1,000 worlds combined knowledge. Dr. Vexath's 4 eyes narrowed as he stared at the holographic display, his chitinous fingers tapping an irritated rhythm against the console. "Scan again," he ordered, his translator converting his clicks into standard galactic. The human female, Diana, according to her registration, sat on the examination platform with remarkable patience. She'd been sitting there for the better part of an hour, while Vexath's medical scanner malfunctioned. At least, that's what he assumed was happening. The machine chimed. The same result materialized in glowing amber text. Royal lineage detected. Genetic markers. Imperial bloodline confirmed. "This is impossible," Vexath muttered, adjusting his medical visor. He turned to his assistant, a young Caltharian named Riza who'd been observing the examination with increasing fascination. "Riza, run a full diagnostic on the scanner. This primitive species couldn't possibly—" "Doctor," Riza interrupted, his voice tentative. "I've run 3 diagnostics. The machine is functioning perfectly." Diana cleared her throat. "Is there a problem? I really need to get back to the cargo bay. We're loading supplies for the colony run." Vexath clicked his mandibles in what might have been frustration or disbelief. In his 40 years of practicing xenomedicine across 73 species, he'd never encountered anything like this. The imperial bloodline markers were supposedly exclusive to the 3 royal houses, ancient civilizations that had ruled the galaxy before even the collective formed. "Miss Diana," Vexath began carefully, "are you aware of your ancestry?" "I'm from Earth," she said with a shrug. "My family's been in Ohio for like 6 generations. Before that, probably Europe somewhere. We're not really the genealogy type. Ohio, Europe, Earth. Words that meant nothing in the grand context of galactic history. Earth had only achieved faster than light travel 15 years ago. They were newcomers, primitive in their technology, barely able to produce a proper fusion reactor without it destabilizing. Yet here sat this unremarkable human, dressed in a worn cargo hauler's jumpsuit reading as imperial bloodline. "Riza, bring up the historical database," Vexath commanded. "Cross-reference Earth's genetic markers with the imperial houses." The assistant's scales flushed an uncertain purple, but he complied. The holographic display expanded, showing a 3-dimensional map of genetic lineages spanning back millennia. The search algorithm worked through terabytes of data in seconds. Then it stopped. A single line connected from Earth's human population backward through time, threading through species after species, civilization after civilization. The line glowed with the unmistakable gold of imperial heritage. "By the ancestors," Riza whispered. The data told an impossible story. 50,000 years ago, the 3rd imperial house had vanished. Their flagships, their colonies, their entire civilization, gone in a single generation. The collective's historians had debated for centuries about what happened: plague, war, dimensional collapse. Every theory had been proposed. None had suggested exodus. "Doctor?" Diana's voice cut through his spiraling thoughts. "You're looking at me like I grew a second head." Vexath steadied himself against the console. "Miss Diana, how much do you know about human evolution?" We evolved from earlier primates. There's that whole thing about the missing link. I wasn't great at biology." "The missing link," Vexath repeated slowly. "How apt." He pulled up Earth's evolutionary timeline. Humanity's archaeological record showed a curious gap, a period where human ancestors seemed to make inexplicable leaps in cognitive ability. Tool use, abstract thinking, language, all emerging in what evolutionary biologists considered an eye blink. The 3rd imperial house had vanished 50,000 years ago. Humans began exhibiting advanced cognitive traits 47,000 years ago. "It's not a malfunction," Vexath said, more to himself than anyone else. "The 3rd house didn't disappear, they ran. They found a primitive world, seeded themselves into the native population, and disappeared into the genetic noise." "I'm sorry, what?" Diana sat up straighter. "Are you saying I'm an alien?" "No," Riza interjected, his young voice filled with wonder. "You're human, but your ancestors were imperial. They chose to become human." Diana laughed, that peculiar human expression of disbelief and amusement. "That's insane. Why would some advanced civilization give up everything to become primitive apes on a backwater planet? Vexath's translator struggled with his neck sounds, something between reverence and fear, because something was chasing them. Something so terrible that the most powerful civilization in galactic history chose extinction over confrontation. The medical bay fell silent except for the ambient hum of machinery. Diana's expression shifted from amusement to something more guarded. "Okay, let's say I believe you," she said slowly. "What does this mean? Am I secretly a princess or something?" "The imperial houses didn't have princesses," Riza explained. "They had genetic codes, keys to technology, databases, facilities that have been sealed for millennia. If your bloodline is genuine, then every sealed imperial facility in the galaxy will open for her," Vexath finished. "Weapons, ships, knowledge, everything the third house locked away when they disappeared." Diana was quiet for a long moment. Then she hopped off the examination platform and grabbed her jacket from the chair. "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to delete that scan. I've got a cargo run to finish." "Miss Diana, you don't understand." "No, Doc, you don't understand." She zipped up her jacket with deliberate movements. "You just told me my ancestors ran from something so scary they literally evolved themselves into a different species to hide. Which means that whatever they were running from might still be out there, might notice if imperial facilities suddenly start opening." Vexath's 4 eyes blinked in astonishment. For a primitive species, humans had a remarkable survival instinct. "Besides," Diana continued, heading toward the door, "I'm a cargo hauler. I haul freight. I don't do ancient conspiracies or galactic politics." She paused at the threshold. "But maybe, don't tell anyone about this, yeah? At least not until I'm several systems away." After she left, Riza turned to his mentor. "Are we going to delete the scan?" Vexath looked at the data, at the golden thread connecting this unremarkable human to the greatest mystery in galactic history. Then he looked at the door Diana had just walked through. "No," he said finally. "But we're going to encrypt it. Bury it under medical privacy protocols so deep that not even the collective council could access it without her permission." "Why?" Vexath's mandibles clicked in what might have been a smile. "Because she's right. If her ancestors sacrificed their civilization to hide from something, the least we can do is help keep that secret." He paused. "And because I suspect that when humans finally remember what they are, the galaxy won't be ready for it." Riza watched his mentor work, encrypting and securing the data. Outside the medical bay's viewport, the cargo ship that Diana worked on began its departure procedures, just another anonymous vessel among thousands. Neither doctor noticed the small alert that pinged in a forgotten corner of the station's network. An ancient subroutine, dormant for 50 millennia, suddenly activated by the detection of imperial genetic markers. Somewhere in the dark between stars, something very old began to wake up. And in the cargo bay of a freight hauler bound for the outer colonies, Diana checked her manifest and tried to convince herself that she didn't feel the weight of 50,000 years of hidden history settling onto her shoulders. She was just a cargo hauler after all. Nothing more. Nothing less. For now.